Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt someone else's emotions? Even if they didn't say a word, have you ever noticed that other people's moods affect you deeply? Sometimes more than your own. If this sounds familiar to you, then you might be an empath. Being an empath is more than just being sensitive or kind. There are certain psychological traits that separate empaths from everyone else. In this video, we're breaking down 10 unmistakable signs that you're an empath. And by the end, you'll know for certain whether you are an empath or not. First, let's find out what an empath actually is. An empath is someone with an unusually high capacity to sense and absorb the emotions of people around them. Empaths don't just understand emotions intellectually. They feel them physically and emotionally, often as intensely as the person experiencing them originally. This is a real neurological trait. Studies show that empaths have more active mirror neurons, which are the brain cells responsible for feeling what others feel. The problem is that most empaths don't realize they are empaths. Because of that, they spend their whole life thinking something is wrong with them. They feel like they are different from others, but in reality, they just see the world differently. They see things differently, deal with them differently. Today, we're going to change that. Let's break down the 10 signs. Sign number 1, you absorb other people's emotions. The first and most obvious sign is that you absorb other people's emotions like a sponge. For an example, someone walks into the room angry, and suddenly you feel irritable. Even if nothing happened to you, you feel their energy and that affects your mood as well. Let's take another example. A friend is sad on the phone, and you end up crying with them, sometimes even more than they do. This isn't just being kind or caring. This is your nervous system literally mirroring their emotional state. It's kind of draining if you're always around people who negatively affects you, and it's not something that you can turn off. It happens naturally. Your brain is wired to resonate with other people's feelings, whether you want it to or not. Most people only do this with people they love. Empaths do this with strangers, colleagues, even people on TV or in movies. Sign number 2, you're exhausted by crowds. The second sign of you being an empath is you get drained by being around many people, even if nothing stressful happened. Take an example, you go to a party, a store, or a crowded event, and afterward, you feel completely wiped out. You feel exhausted, feels empty inside, and just want to spend some time alone, doing things that you usually do. You don't participate much in social events because too much energy around you makes you feel overwhelmed, and as a result, people just assume you are an introvert. But it's different. You're not drained from social interaction itself. You're drained from absorbing everyone's emotional energy simultaneously. When you're in a crowd, you're picking up dozens of emotional frequencies at once. It's too much to take everything all at once, and because of this, your nervous system is working overtime to process all of it. This answers why empaths often need long periods alone to recover. It's not an antisocial social behavior. It's important to keep in check with your emotions. Sign number 3, you feel physical symptoms from other people's pain. The third sign is unusual. You physically feel other people's pain. Someone tells you they have a headache, and suddenly you feel a pressure in your head too. A friend is stressed about money, and you feel tension in your chest. This isn't hypochondria or imagination. This is a genuine neurological response. Your mirror neurons activate so strongly that your body experiences a sympathetic response. Empaths often experience phantom pains, muscle tension, stomach issues, or fatigue that correspond to what people around them are feeling. If someone you love is suffering, your body suffers too, sometimes as intensely as theirs. Sign number 4, you struggle with boundaries. The fourth sign, you struggle with saying no or setting boundaries. You feel guilty protecting yourself because you're too aware of how your refusal might hurt or disappoint someone else. When someone asks for help, even if you're exhausted, you say yes because you feel their need so intensely. This isn't a character flaw. It's because empaths feel other people's disappointment and pain more acutely than their own exhaustion. Your own needs often come last, because you're always feeling everyone else's needs first. Sign number 5, you're highly sensitive to sensory input. The fifth sign, you're sensitive to sensory stimuli that don't bother most people. Loud noises, bright lights, strong smells, rough textures. They all feel overwhelming to you. You might struggle in busy restaurants, loud concerts, or fluorescent lit stores. This isn't just personality preference. Empaths have more sensitive nervous systems. Their sensory filters don't work the same way as non-empaths. Where most people filter out background noise, empaths hear everything. Where most people adapt to bright lights, empaths feel assaulted by them. It's not weakness, it's neurological wiring. Sign number 6, you're an empath in relationships. You fix people. The sixth sign, in relationships, you try to fix or heal people. You're attracted to people who are broken, troubled, or emotionally unavailable because you believe your love can heal them. You spend enormous energy trying to understand why they act the way they do, making excuses for their behavior, and believing they can change. Empaths often find themselves in one-sided relationships, where they are giving everything and receiving very little. This isn't because you're naive. It's because your brain is literally wired to try to heal emotional pain. It's your superpower misused. Sign number 7, you can read people instantly. The seventh sign, you can read people like a book. You walk into a room and immediately sense who's struggling, who's lying, who's uncomfortable, even if they're hiding it well. You know what someone needs before they say it. You sense tension between people that nobody else notices. This is because your brain is constantly analyzing micro-expressions, tone of voice, body language, and matching it with emotional states. Most people are conscious of these signals, but empaths process them unconsciously and instantly. You're not psychic. You're just incredibly attuned to human behavior and emotion. Sign number 8, you're overwhelmed by violence or cruelty. The 8th sign. You're deeply affected by violence, cruelty, or injustice. You can't watch certain movies or news because the suffering depicted affects you too deeply. You feel the victim's pain, sometimes more than the characters do. Stories of abuse, tragedy, or cruelty haunt you. You think about them. You imagine how the victims felt. You carry their pain. Most people can separate entertainment from reality. Empaths struggle with this boundary. You're not oversensitive. You're just feeling what's actually there. You're just conscious of suffering that others tune out. Sign number 9, you need alone time to recharge. The 9th sign. You need significant alone time to feel like yourself again. After social interaction, work, or being around people, you need to retreat, to be quiet, to process everything you've absorbed. Without this alone time, you become anxious, irritable, depressed, or physically ill. This isn't laziness or introversion. This is a genuine need to discharge the emotional energy you've absorbed from others. Your nervous system needs time to reset and return to baseline. Without it, you stay in a state of activation and stress. Sign number 10, you're intuitive and spiritual. The 10th and final sign. Many empaths are intuitive or spiritual. You might experience gut feelings that prove accurate. You might be drawn to spirituality, meditation, nature, or healing practices. You feel connected to animals, nature, or higher consciousness in ways others don't. You have strong intuition about people and situations. This isn't woo-woo. It's your highly attuned nervous system picking up on patterns and energy that others miss. Your sensitivity to subtle cues extends to your overall perception of reality. You perceive things that others overlook. Now that we've learned about 10 signs of being an empath, so how many of these signs do you relate to? If you identify with 7 or more of these signs, you're almost certainly an empath. If you identify with 5 to 6, you likely have strong empathic traits, even if you're not a full empath. If you identify with fewer than 5, you probably have standard levels of empathy, which is perfectly normal. But here's what's important. Being an empath is not a curse. It's a gift. The problem isn't that you feel too much. The problem is that nobody taught you how to protect this gift, how to set boundaries, how to use your sensitivity as a strength instead of a weakness. If you're an empath watching this, know that you're not broken. You're not too sensitive. You're not weak. You perceive the world differently, and that's your superpower. If this video resonated with you, please subscribe. Comment below how many signs did you relate to. Let me know your experience. I read every comment. And if you found value in understanding yourself better, share this with someone else who might be an empath and doesn't realize it yet.